Hello everybody, this is Clive5 and you are watching Most Embarrassing Replays. Thank you so much for joining me today on the show where you send me your embarrassing replays. I watch them, commentate them, and put them up online for everyone to see. And if you'd like to be on the show, please send your embarrassing replays to replays@poweroverwhelming.net and we'll get you on the show. Right now we're going to go ahead and get into the first match, so stay tuned. Do not attempt to adjust your monitors. This is something that's very special that I'm glad to be sharing with you. This is StarCraft BroodWar. Yes, you see it right. StarCraft BroodWar. And this is a match between Sin Yin and Claw Rebel. You may know Claw Rebel better as ChaoxTech. A buddy of ChaoxTech's requested to play a game against him, and they sent me this replay. And it's going to be quite the experience for me to cast this, as I have not, well, I have never casted anything BroodWar, and I haven't played BroodWar in quite some time. So we do see Sin Yin, the white Protoss, in the 10 o'clock position, and in the 3-4 o'clock position we see ChaoxTech. I'm just going to call him ChaoxTech because that's who he is. The yellow Zerg. Now that is interesting. ChaoxTech going for a bit of a race switch on, off racing, I guess you'd say. Though I think in the conversion between BroodWar and StarCraft 2 it doesn't really count. So ChaoxTech just playing Zerg here. It's going to be quite an interesting match, I believe. And I have my nice little Chaos launcher. That's a little utility that was built for BroodWar that allows you to monitor APMs. Of course, you don't see the production tab, so I'm going to have to be really on my game to make sure I'm catching everything, really paying attention to the mini-map. I can't coast along, but I can keep clicking on this guy. Not quite as nice, but oh well. You see a single extractor going down, and please note that there is only one extractor in BroodWar versus the two in Wings of Liberty. You may recall that in BroodWar you never truly run out of gas. You can deplete your geyser of this gas count that's available. I know. But even when your gas is depleted, you can still send your workers into the geyser to collect a smaller amount of gas. Okay, so you're collecting, is it 8 at a time? And then once it's depleted, you collect 5 at a time, or something like that. So, this is going to be a real treat for me. And ChaoxTech, if you may not know this, has never played BroodWar before. He started with StarCraft 2, so the mechanics are a little bit different. Something that we take for granted. ChaoxTech realizes he doesn't have a pool. Something we take for granted is auto mine, so you can rally your drones directly from the hatchery to the mineral line. However, in BroodWar, they will not start to automatically mine. They'll just run over to that mineral patch and sit where they are. So quite a different dynamic there. Also not present in BroodWar are the queens that can do the spawn larva ability. The creep tumors are a little bit different. They're actually creep colonies. Sorry, not creep colonies. Well, it's different. There's the creep tumors, which just spread the creep. And then in StarCraft you have the creep colonies, which both spread creep and can be morphed into either spine colonies or spore colonies, and those act similarly to what you might expect in StarCraft 2. In BroodWar, however, Protoss do not have warp gate technology, so you see right now a very, very common BroodWar upgrade is Dragoon range, so that is almost a necessity in all BroodWar games if you're going for, well, any number of Dragoons. Immensely helpful. And so let's see here. Both bases are up and running. The game is a little bit slower pace, so you can see that we're already about almost 4.5 minutes into the game, and still nothing really monumental going on here. ChaoxTech morphing into Lair. Sydney Yin, on the other hand, just a single gate out thus far. The second gate is warping in. This is going to be so much harder without that production tab. And of course, my APMs do stay up for the entire game. I can't switch that out. The red is just a little indicator of if the player is below like 50 or 80 APM. The Chaos Launcher tool that many of us used for BroodWar was capable of giving you a little alert and a little sound effect if you were below a certain APM, which I found really nice. I kind of like to have something similar for StarCraft 2. Now, something else that ChaoxTech probably does not know is that in BroodWar, many Zerg players went for multiple hatcheries in their main because they did not have that spawn larva utility. Well, not that they didn't know they had it, but you know, you just have to create a number of hatcheries in order to have enough larvae. Otherwise, you'll always be capped out at 3. Whereas that spawn larva, you can just keep injecting and injecting until you have. Well, I don't remember the total maximum amount, but it's insignificant. Also, in BroodWar, you can only make control groups of 12 units, which is very difficult to work with, especially when you get large armies. Early on in the game, of course, not too big of a deal, but for Zerg, it gets rather difficult rather quickly, because right now we already have 4, 8, 10 Zerglings out, so he's almost at maximum right now for a single control group. So you can see how that starts to get out of hand very quickly. ChaoxTech picking up on this pretty quickly, morphing that creep colony into a sunken colony. Also going for somewhat of a hidden Hydra Den. That may be a little bit of, well, just using that StarCraft 2 instinct that Hydralisks do well against Protoss gateway units. The same is not necessarily true in BroodWar. Lings do quite well against Dragoons, of course. That's the case against Stalkers in StarCraft 2. It's also the case against Dragoons in BroodWar. You definitely need that speed upgrade, but also that's what's good. Wow, stuttering a bit. What would be helpful is some sort of support. Definitely not the Mutalisks that he seems to be going for, but Lurkers, I believe. It's hard to remember what goes on here in this BroodWar world. It's still a very active community, especially in Korea. There are a number of pro players that are still playing BroodWar because they're under contract by Kespa, or whatever the name of that group is. Natural expansion going down to Protoss, by the way. A number of Dragoons are going to be moving in here. They are going to be caught off guard by these sunken colonies and a number of Zerglings moving in position to attack. And these Dragoons have to be careful. No blink available for these Dragoons. It's getting a very nice surround. Mutalisks coming in. Mutalisks not very good at all against Dragoons. And again, I'm gonna have to be careful here. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of micro than that. Not to do so well. These Hydralisks are going to be outranged by the Dragoons quite a bit, but looks like their sheer power might be able to take down these very weakened Dragoons at this point. Huh, yeah, Hydralisks a lot sturdier in StarCraft 2 than they are in StarCraft. Nice road transfer, I have to say. 4 gates going down. 4 gate is not exactly the same in BroodWar as it was in... Man, I can't keep these games straight. StarCraft 2. Citadel also... I actually don't know what you get from that. Zealot leg speed, given Citadel and a Dune. You can also build the Templar Archives after you have the Citadel built. Of course, you need the Templar Archives for those Templar, which will do some really amazing storm damage against the Hydralisks. No income tab. I'm spoiled, I have to say. We can still see, however, that the army size 34 versus 60 on the side of Sinyin. Man, Sinyin has some pretty decent APM. I'm actually pretty surprised that ChaoxTech is as slow of a player as it is. I haven't really paid attention to what his APM is like in Wings of Liberty, but seeing how well he plays the game, I would expect him to do a little bit better. Looks like more Dragoons are going to start pressing out. ChaoxTech would be really well served to be using more hatcheries. He has a ton of minerals, not using them at all. I'm going to send in this line of Hydralisks. You have to be careful. Zealots actually do quite well against Hydralisks. Wow. Actually kind of a misstep from Sinyin, not microing those Dragoons popularly. There's a very distinct Dragoon moving fire technique. I mean, it exists in Wings of Liberty as well, but definitely a skill to be honed in BroodWar. Very, very difficult to micro those units properly in BroodWar. I think one of the hardest of all was vultures. If you remember BroodWar, Terrans didn't have banshees. Or sorry, not banshees, hellions. They had vultures, those little motorcycle guys. Those required really precise micro movements in order to get sort of a moving shot off. Some Zerg upgrades going out from that evolution chamber. We're now seeing 41 psi to 94 psi, so wow. Still pretty big difference here. Now, another thing that's a little bit different in BroodWar is that Overlords are actually detectors. So you see this Dark Templars out moving around the map, looking to pick off probably anything that it can find out in the open. Kind of a gutsy nexus going down here, kind of in the middle of the map. But this DT looking to pick off any units that it can find out in the open, but it's going to be stopped short by these Overlords. Well, should ChaoxTech bring one along with his army, he's probably clicking on these guys saying, oh, how do I morph this to an Overseer? Move him towards so slow, those Overlords. Wow, large attack force moving in from Sinyin. He's got quite a distinctly large army. Wow, only 39 psi usage from ChaoxTech, and this may be some trouble for him. High Templar, it looks like, I'm not sure if Storm is researched. Well, Amulet is almost being researched, or is almost done being researched, so I'm assuming that the High Templar has Storm as well. Hydralisks moving in, they have those Zealots off guard. Zealots doing quite well against Hydralisks in BroodWar, especially Zealots with leg speed upgrade. And wow, such a nice storm taking in so many of those Hydralisks. And one is left, you can see Hydralisks moving in to attack. Now there are quite a few of these sunken colonies here. And they're going to do okay, but ChaoxTech really prevailing here in this attack. I actually think these are going to pick off the rest in ChaoxTech's base. ChaoxTech going for a hive. It's a little bit too late, and again, the thing that's really killing him is not having additional hatcheries. He does have one additional hatchery here, but it's not going to do good. He also needs a lot more Zerglings. In fact, he needs Speedlings against an all-Dragoon army like this. Actually, 001 upgrades for the Protoss. We are seeing 2 Stargates going down, and you may remember the Corsair unit, very common in PvZ. Corsairs, of course, do some really wonderful harassing against these overlords. Thwarted a little bit probably by these Hydralisks, but still, if well, one very popular build, the Visu build, involves Corsairs taking out all of the overlords which had detection, leaving all the bases undetected and vulnerable to Dark Templar attack. Idle drones, probes here actually. Really oversaturated, it looks like, in terms of his mining. Wow, so many probes. Look at this mineral count, 2,700. Very large army, 116 versus ChaoxTech's 43. Now producing lurkers. That's what I like to see. Lurkers are going to do quite well. And actually, no observers out. Producing scouts. He's actually making scouts. That's actually sort of a bad manner move. Scouts got really badly nerfed in BroodWar. In the original StarCraft, scouts actually did quite well. But in BroodWar, they're so utterly terrible against anything but anti-air that they're really kind of the joke. You only go for scouts when you solidly have the game in your favor. So I'm not sure if Ian is really up on the good manner, bad manner of these units. I don't know how since he's played, but very interesting. Wow, really nice storm on those lurkers. Actually picking out 4 of them, and he has to be careful there because there's really nice storm taking out 2 more lurkers, and those lurkers are really valuable contribution. Like I said, no. Wow. So well against the Zealots. Wow, those are amazing. I kind of am expecting to see them return in Heart of the Swarm. I may even have to switch to Zerg if I see them, because I loved the lurker. Now, see, what I'm confused about is I'm not seeing any observers out on Singin's side. We don't see a robotics facility, and that's not even half of what he needs to produce in order to get an observer. He needs to both produce the robotics facility and the observatory, and all he's doing is producing more gateways. Gateways are not going to help. Okay, finally, here's the robotics facility. Once that's worked in, we'll be able to produce the observatory, but in the meantime, these lurkers are going to continue to move in and continue to wreak havoc on these bases, and if they get in within these mineral lines, Sinyin might actually be in trouble. Still quite a few resources to be mined here from ChaoxTech, but not electing to bring in another hatchery. That's kind of confusing. Wow, nice storms going down on those. Really nice storms against the lurkers. So you don't need the protection to take him down. But wow, look at all these kills. 18 kills, 8 kills, 9 kills. Wow, really nice storm. Actually, oh, just one more remaining. I don't know what these zealots are doing, really. Morphing an Archon, what he's going to do is he's move that Archon in and attack his own Zealot, and the splash damage against the Zealot is going to actually take out that lurker, I believe. Move it in. Well, it's a Gosu strategy that used to work in BroodWar. Or maybe he's just leaving that Zealot here in order to try to catch the lurker when it unfurls. Oh, so painful. So now the observatory is produced, and I don't see the observer out yet. Once that observer does get out, ChaoxTech's going to be in a lot of trouble because he didn't have anything to fight against that observer. Keep a few of his Hydralisks out and nearby these lurkers so that he can pick off that air unit. Well, he also needs to bring in bringing some overlords to attention. And here we are now seeing those Corsairs starting to harass those overlords. They're going to rove the map and take out as many of them as they can. Then the DTs will be free to basically rip up the place. So ChaoxTech definitely a little bit too lurker heavy here. He needs to have a nice balance. Difficult thing to manage. And here comes that observer finally, almost complete. That's what renders these lurkers very vulnerable. And especially with only a couple overlords remaining that haven't gotten picked off by these Corsairs yet. ChaoxTech is going to be in a lot of trouble here. Alright, here comes the observer now. And there will be a lot of sturdy zealots ready to pick off those lurkers. Sinyan now going for a fourth base to recover from his third that got taken down by these lurkers. Not sure what he's really waiting for. Maybe just paying a little too much attention to his macro there. I guess he didn't really pay too much attention. But still, he has the opportunity to finish the game here if he just brings in this observer. No, instead he's going to wait for the lurkers to move into his own attack range, and now they're just sitting directly underneath this observer, and they are all finished now. So, Sin Yin is an A move away from finishing this off. Yep. Almost about to get that hive, and that's not really going to change much. Sure, he'll have access to, say, defilers, which can do plague. He has quite a few of those, like acid and bang, so he could do ultralisks. But yeah, against zealots, archons, especially in this volume, not going to do too much. I'm going to leave some of these zealots to sort of surround the colony, spore colony, spine colony, whatever it is. It's BroodWar. Nevertheless, he's not going to last very long. There's way too many zealots. These armies, 440 strong versus ChaoxTech's 300 strong. This is going to be over in a matter of seconds, and I'm not just saying that because of the replay progress bar. I'm saying it because ChaoxTech is truly outnumbered. And here comes the force. Led by this High Templar. Might get a good storm off if he doesn't get first. He does. That could have been a nice storm. So, ChaoxTech. Actually, get here. Greater Smoke. Guardians. They actually are pretty effective. It's short-range Archons. So, this is going to be the end of the first game. I actually have a second BroodWar replay for you all to enjoy. And, well, I'm not going to give you spoilers, well, namely because I haven't watched them, but from Sin Yin, he says that the second game is a little bit more interesting, so I look forward to that. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, here comes the next BroodWar embarrassing replay. Welcome back to part 2 of our 2-part BroodWar extravaganza. This is another replay between Sinyin and ChaoxTech. ChaoxTech, the orange Zerg in the 10 o'clock position versus Sinyin, the teal Protoss in the 4 o'clock position. And just a funny little thing about the fastest map speed. All the replays by default play back in the fast speed, but all the pro games were played in fastest. Just kind of an annoying little thing to have to hit that twice. It's one small aspect of BroodWar that I don't miss. Also, of course, like I mentioned in part 1, I don't get this nice little production tab. Makes things a lot more difficult to keep track of what's going on in this matchup. But back to business here. We are actually seeing Sinyin move out this probe without planting down anything in his own base. A little bit unorthodox. I'm suspecting some sort of proxy tech cannon rush, probably. That I guess was, well, that's pretty common cheese. And yes, he does plant down a pylon there inside ChaoxTech's base, and it's going to be a while before ChaoxTech, his overlord, is going to be able to see that there's no tech inside Sinyin's base. In the meantime, though, it looks like ChaoxTech is going for a 5-pool, not producing any more drones from these larvae. That's also going to be very difficult to spot, and anything that Sinyin plants down here is going to be vulnerable. Plants down a forge here, so it does look, no, canceling the forge actually. So I thought he was going to go for a cannon rush, but seeing that there is a 5-pool there, going to go for a gateway instead for those zealots. Zealots do, of course, ridiculously well against Zerglings in BroodWar. It takes 4 Zerglings to take down a single zealot, and these Zerglings are going to pop here, but it actually looks like Sinyin's build is going to be pretty susceptible to well, this pylon is very vulnerable, and these Zerglings are going to easily be able to take it down before these gateways are capable of producing anything. But no, the Zerglings are actually running by. They need to turn around and take down this pylon while they still can. Instead, they're going to run straight to the base of Sinyin and take down Sinyin's economy. Not the best move, I would say. Definitely need to be concentrating on this pylon. Oof, boy, that's trouble. Oof. So, well, these Zerglings are going to do very well against the probe line, of course. One Zergling going down so far, and that's all it's going to be. And this Nexus is going to get taken down, but here comes Zealots, and they're going to do some pretty ferocious damage of their own. Starting to pick away at the spawning pool, but really, once these drones, yikes, these drones are just going to vanish. Zealots do so well against Zerg ground. Oof. So that Nexus is gone. Now he needs to be careful because there are like 7 Zerglings here and 2 Zealots here. More Zerglings being produced, but ChaoxTech has to be really careful. Only engage when he has all of them clumped together, well, ready to attack at the same time. Another Zealot actually going to be produced here, and that's going to be the last one because Sinyin is now out of minerals. Taking down the pylon, though, he doesn't really need to because Sinyin can't produce anymore. He's going to lose some of these Zerglings, and that's going to be really bad. He desperately needed to attack with all of his Zerglings at once, and he's even leaving 3 back here, so this is just not going to work for him. He's going to lose these Zerglings, and that's going to be the end of the game, because he's not going to be able to take care of the rest of these. Oh, man. The Zealots are going to recharge their shields, and that's going to be the end. ChaoxTech thinks that it's some sort of hacks. Spawning pool easily goes down, and this hatchery is going to be next. So I'm going to start wrapping it up right now. Thanks again to Sinyin for sending me these replays. It was truly a treat to be able to cast some BroodWar games. If you have any replays for me, be they BroodWar or Wings of Liberty, so long as they're embarrassing and you think that they should be shared with the StarCraft community, please send those to replays@poweroverwhelming.net. At this moment, however, we're going to go on to the community matches if you're joining us live. And if you're catching us on YouTube, please do catch the show live on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock Central at poweroverwhelming.net. Would love to have you be part of our community, and also would like to have you join us on Facebook and Twitter, PWR Overwhelming, for both of those. So yeah, definitely do join us out. We'd love to have you with us. Thanks again to Sinyin, and thanks again to ChaoxTech for being a good sport again. Of course, I have to say he did pretty well for being a first-timer BroodWar player. I'm just going to leave it at that. Thanks to both players. I'll catch you guys in the community match.